that twin had told my sister, Rachel's been touching me up. And my sister's response was, shut the fuck up, you're lying.
Rayshawn is your nephew.
Yes.
Marsha, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you for coming down to the stool today. So let's just jump right in. Let me know about the relationship between you and your nephew.
My nephew, I was there at his birth when he was first born. My sister was a teenage mum, age 15, doing her GCSEs. And I was very supportive. You know, we found out when she was 8 months pregnant, which was a bit of a shock to the family. How do you know your sister's 8 months and having a child? But throughout his childhood, I felt like I was a really good auntie. You know, I did a lot of babysitting as the big auntie would do. And alongside him growing up, I then had my own children. I had 4 children for my husband at the time, my late husband who's passed away now. We're quite a close-knit family as a Jamaican British family.
Yeah.
You know, we did a lot of things together. We celebrated Easter. My grandparents were Christians. One was a Pentecostal Christian, one was a Seventh-day Adventist. So we had the upbringing of the faith or believe in Christ, God, the Father. Many times I would take my nephew and my daughters to conventions. I wasn't a devout Christian, but if there was a convocation going on, or we say a convention, I would take him and my daughters to the convention because I wanted them to have the upbringing that I had.
Yeah.
Part of me felt like I had a forced upbringing to go to church, and I became rebellious at 16 and was like, I'm not going to church anymore, and just decided to be a bit more worldly. But alongside me growing up, you know, I felt when I became a mum, it was my duty to bring that Christian element into not just my children, but my nieces and nephews. So I felt that I was doing my best as an auntie to show not just him, but my other nieces and nephews to do the right thing. My grandma gave me the saying of, taught the truth and shame the devil. That was always drummed into us. So I believed that everyone in my family would do the same thing. We would talk the truth and would shame the devil. If I bring myself now into lockdown 2020, you know, it was a different time. We all had our different views on lockdown. I enjoyed it because I had time to be with my family, do a lot of home cooking, homeschooling. And when we were allowed to merge the families together after a year, you know, my nephew had come to me asking me to do his hair. He is mixed race, so his hair was finer. But he said he wanted to grow locks. And on 2 occasions, I was twisting his hair. And the second time, I remember him saying to me, Auntie Marsha, I didn't have a good childhood. Now, for me, didn't understand the comment. I was like, where is he going with this comment? And I asked him to elaborate, and he didn't really share anything. And I took that conversation back to his mum, my sister. I said, you know, he said he didn't have a good childhood. Now, my sister's response was, oh, tell him to shut up. He's just attempting to be dramatic or seek attention. And I said, you know, do you not think he's wanting to reach out and tell you something if he said he didn't have a good childhood?
Yeah.
But I left it there. I just continued, you know, I'm a busy mum. In 2020, I was already a widow. My husband died 2014. I work in fashion. I've never really worked in my hometown. So I've always commuted from back then Northamptonshire to London or Coventry. And I relied heavily on my family. My dad had died 3 years before my husband. So I've lost 2 main men in my life, or I shouldn't say just my life, my children's life. So we lost granddad and my dad, and then they lost their dad, my husband. So I heavily relied on my family for support, not financial support, but just, you know, if I'm going to jump on a train at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm asking mum, can you take the girls to school? Or could you pick them up after school club, feed them until I get home?
Yeah.
A lot of the times we would, when I say we, the family would come together, and my sister loved cooking. So we would have Thanksgiving. We're not American, but any reason to get together and cook food,
Yeah.
we would come together and break bread basically. 2021. So we're still we're coming out of lockdown. I want to say 2021 was probably the worst year of my life. I know my partner here right now can testify. In May, I had an altercation with my mum's neighbour, which unfortunately resulted in me getting a criminal record and being in a police cell for 8 hours. It's not I'm not proud of it, but it's happened. You know, if people Google my name, they will see that. So, and I tell people now, I'm not ashamed of what I've done. Basically, the neighbor was cutting down my dad's tree. My dad's died. So we had grown this tree and it was a 10-year memorial in 2021. The neighbor had cut down parts of the tree. I was asked as the eldest daughter to go around and tell the neighbor, like, please stop cutting this tree. Me and the neighbors were having a very amicable conversation until the daughter came on the scene, was very, oh, let's keep it right. She was just looking for a fight and was very physical with me. And I turned around rather than knock her out, sorry to say, because I'm bigger than her. Unfortunately, I spat in her face. I don't condone it. I told my children it's disgusting. I know it's a disgusting act, but I was made an example of because we just come out of lockdown, obviously, you know, with COVID. So that was the first thing that happened. That was in May. I was then given a court date the next month and I was given a fine. That was June. In August, it was my dad's 10-year anniversary. Me and my siblings weren't really on good speaking terms. We've had a couple of conversations where they just don't agree with how I'm operating, me and my partner and the children are. Me and my family then became very close. When I say me and my family, me, my partner, and my little unit, I felt like I could feel a little bit of a division. I'm breaking away from the normal family because I'm doing my own thing now. September the 19th, we had a house fire. So that Sunday night, the electric had tripped. My children said, Mum, the Wi-Fi's gone. Obviously, Wi-Fi is more important to the children than anything else. I went downstairs just to see smouldering smoke coming out of my kitchen. And I told the girls, pick up your brother, get his shoes on, get out of the house. I came back upstairs, got my phone, came back downstairs. Because I'm a designer and a tailor, I had 2 very expensive wedding dresses in my living room. And the only thought I could have was close the fire door and get out of the house.
Yeah.
As I did that, there's fire in my kitchen. It just happened within like 3 minutes. So bless my partner, he's come from a job and supported us. We've found somewhere to stay. And I realized then we really have got issues with my family because my mum didn't even come and, the only thing she did was come and take my children. But there was a lot of animosity from previous stuff that has happened within May to September. We get to November the 27th, 2021. I had a phone call from my twins went to a particular college in Northampton. It's a high school, but they call it a college. Had a phone call that I need to come to the school straight away. And I was like, what is this? I in my head thought, and I know it sounds really silly, but I thought I was gonna get a phone call, or this phone call was about maybe my daughters were stealing from Primarks and they've been caught. I really thought that because I was thinking, what's the worst I could think of? I'm not thinking what I'm gonna tell you. So I get to the school, the safeguarding teacher says she's been given my daughter's phone. The phone has information on. She hasn't read it yet. She's going to read it to me, or she's going to tell me while she's reading it. So she didn't even get time to really read it first and think about what she's going to say. So she said she'd like me to sit down. As she's reading through the phone, she's realizing what she's saying and she looks quite mortified. And it's in the lines of, my daughter has shared with her school friend, she has experienced certain things with a family member, someone who is a few years older than her. Her friend has then told her, you've experienced abuse. So as the teacher's saying that to me, I'm like, I actually thought I was being punked. I literally thought, what is this? I wasn't expecting to hear this. And she continued to talk. And I said, can I be excused if I'm going to be sick? And I ran out the room, went to the bathroom that was on the right side of me, and I literally vomited because I thought, no, I can't believe I just had someone tell me this. It was a bit hard to process. You know what I mean? I was like, nah, this can't be right. So I washed my face and I went back in the room and I said to her, can you just read what you just said again? Because I really thought I was dreaming what you said. And by this point, the teacher's crying and she's quite red. So I was like, okay, this is actually serious now. Like, I really did hear what I heard. And she said, your daughter's going to come in. And I was like, by this point, I felt like I was a bit shaky. My legs didn't feel like they was on the ground. And my daughter came in crying. And I just gave her a massive hug. My gut instinct was my daughter's talking the truth. Like, from the core of me as her daughter, as her mum, I was like, my baby girl's telling me the truth. I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
I literally don't know what to do with myself. And then I looked at my watch and I said, I need to pick up my other daughter. So it's getting to that time, it's like nearly 3:15. And I thought, if I don't go now, I'm going to be late picking her up. And I work from home. So I said to the teacher, maybe I'll call my mum to pick up my daughter. But I thought, no, if I call my mum, she's going to say, why are you not picking up your own child when you work from home? So I said to the teacher, can we park this conversation? Let me go get my daughter. I told my daughter I'm running late, so I'm going to have to meet her in the car park in B&M rather than get to the school gate. So she said, cool, she'll walk up to B&M. And she came in the car. I just simply said to her, have you ever been touched inappropriately?
So you just said it.
I had to. I
Like
thought,
that.
like, there's no, what am I going to, I can't beat around the bush. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I've just been told, I'm shocked already. I need to find out what's going on here. So she said, yes, mum. And I looked at her and I thought, wow, this is getting a bit, like, it's already bad, but I'm like, it's getting worse.
Yeah.
So I called my partner as I'm driving to the Aldi because I was thinking, get her out the car to go get dinner and I could speak to my partner. So I said, can you go and get some food from the shop? I think I must just give him my card or something. And I said, I called my partner. I said, I just been to the school and this has happened. And now I've asked my other daughter, my youngest daughter, and she said she's been touched inappropriately. I said, stay on the line. When she comes back in the car, I'm going to ask her the same question so that he could hear what I heard.
Yeah.
Because part of me is like, I'm not registering. This is not funny now. In the last 45 minutes, I've just been told my daughter's been touched inappropriately or she's been abused. And now my other daughter's telling me. So I was thinking, what? And I don't want to swear on here, but I was like, what is actually going on here? Seriously? So he heard what he heard. And I said, because we had the house fire, we was then put in temporary accommodation. So I was like, right, I need to get back to temporary accommodation and call the other two girls, which makes all four of them, and find out what's really going on. And I asked the question to the eldest daughter and the youngest twin. I said, this has happened today. Twin one's been abused and I still don't know who it is. Your younger sister's told me she's been touched inappropriately by the same person. And as I went to ask the question, twin two just went completely ballistic, screaming, bawling, shouting. I was like, okay, right, okay, this is real now. This is real stuff. And my eldest daughter was like, she's been really quiet. She didn't want to deal with it. And she's like, why is this coming out now for? I just put it back in my head. I don't want to deal with this. So I'm looking at all four of them and I'm like, I'm actually confused. Why has no one actually told me? Or why have you not all spoken to? So there was a lot of questions, but then I felt rage. I was like, I actually want to kill him. Because by this point, they've actually said it's racial.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what the hell is this?
Rayshawn is your nephew.
Yes.
So when you heard it was your nephew, what did you feel like hearing it's your nephew?
I felt disgusted. I actually felt disgusted. I was literally like, I'm going to, God forgive me. I've had to ask God to forgive me enough times, for the last 3.5 years. I actually feel like I'm going to kill him. And then another part of me was like, but you can't. Because this is your flesh and blood. And then another part, it was almost like, I don't know if you've had an experience where you guys are young. So back in the days, we used to watch a cartoon called Popeye. Popeye used to have the good and the bad little devils beside him. Or maybe it's like Tom and Jerry would have the bad cat and the good cat. You got and I actually felt like I experienced that, where the bad part of me, the flesh part of me was like, yo, do you know what? Me put on a balaclava and just go find this nigger. Sorry, because I don't like calling our own black, but I was like, this is how dark and angry I felt, yeah? Then the right side of me, the righteous part, the God part, was like, you need to pray. In fact, you need to call your pastor. In fact, you need to, who can you actually turn to? You know what I mean? And I'm just like waiting for my partner to come back up from London so I can actually reason with him, because he's actually my sounding board. Like if I'm going mad, I'm like, babes, you need to deal with me, man, because I don't know what I'm doing. And then I called my good friend in Manchester, and by this point I was crying. I was literally in my car at the back of the temp accommodation crying. The girls were in the living room crying. I was like, I feel weak. I don't know what to do with myself. I literally feel like I want the earth to just open up and take me. I'm like, God, please let me die. I don't want to deal with this. This is too much to handle. Then I was like, no, I need to snap out of it. I actually need to. What am I doing? Bearing in mind, this is the first day. So I had a text or a phone call from the teacher saying we need to come back the next day. My partner and I went to the school and they said, due to the nature of this, the police have to be involved. I had no choice. It wasn't like I could tell and go, oh no, don't get the police involved. Let me go and talk to the family. I was like, do what you need to do. I don't care. Do what you need to do. Because if you don't, I'm going to take matters into my own hands. Bearing in mind, I was arrested in May.
Mm-hmm.
I already have a criminal record. So there's no way I'm going to actually go and do the madness. But the thoughts were there to actually just, I don't know a gunman. Me no bad man. But I actually felt like I need to go find a bad man and go put this dude in the trunk of a car and go and do something stupid. So many thoughts were in my head, but then the questions also came back of, why is my children not talking to each other? How comes these guys? But then I started to feel really guilty because throughout the years, bearing in mind, my husband died 2014 of lung cancer. My children were showing signs of what I thought was grief. One daughter was eating all the time, to the point where my younger brother was always saying, oh, she's getting fat, she's getting fat. You need to tell her to stop eating. I was like, you can't tell your niece, stop eating, she's getting fat. You need to talk to her in a different manner to get her to eat less or to exercise. Twin one wanted to learn martial arts. So she asked her godfather, show me how to do MMA fighting. So I'm thinking, what? I've had to deal with all of this while I'm commuting to London. And I'm going, the eldest daughter was always in her bedroom. Now, for me as a mum, I'm like, when I was a teenager and I wanted space, I'd go in my bedroom, put on my music, probably tape some things on, I'm really showing my age now, I'd tape some tunes on top 40 on a Sunday. So I thought that's what she's doing. She's just having her own time. Whereas twin two was the most angriest child out of all of them. But me and her weren't close. She was more close to her dad. So I thought she was grieving because her best friend, her dad, has died. Not realising she's been abused multiple times within 6 years, from 2014 when her dad died to lockdown. So this person, Rachel Rose, has groomed my children multiple times for 6 years, me not realising.
So at the time, how old were your children, the girls, and how old was your nephew at that in that 6 months? What was the age difference?
The 6 years,
In the 6 years it was happening, yeah.
From the records that I've been given, my youngest was 7 and my eldest was 12, 13. So he's 2 years older than my eldest. So he's hitting 15, 16. I don't care what anyone tells me. I know when I was 14 and I was running upon the street and chatting to man, and I had sense. So no one can't tell me this 15, 16-year-old doesn't know what he's doing. He clearly knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He thought he was going to get away with it. He thought my children were going to keep quiet forever. Unfortunately, he chose the wrong children because the bloodline that my children come from, their dad, rest in peace, he's a person like my grandma, taught the truth and shame the devil. You don't care who you are, whether you're the bishop, whether you're the prime minister, he'll go and done you with his words. And that's my children. They will call you out. They don't care how old you are. And I think this whole experience now has shown us, we give respect to those who give respect to us. My immediate family on my mother's side, they've shown us no respect. From the Tuesday I got called from the school to the Saturday that he got arrested originally, family members were blocking us. It was like a domino effect. Brother blocked me. Brother's wife blocked me. Sister blocked me. Mother, she didn't block me, but there was no conversation. She knew something was wrong. She kept messaging me, you okay? You okay? What's happening? She said, what you asked me for? I said, right now I've got things going on. I don't want to talk to you. On the Saturday now, I called her and said, we need to talk. But I was living in temporary accommodation and she was selling her home. And I was like, I don't want to have my last memory being in my family home that she's selling and telling her your grandson's raped my children. And I don't want it to be in temporary accommodation because my children are there and that's the only place where they feel safe. So I called my mum. People might judge me and say, how you've done things is wrong. I called my mum and said, we need to meet in Toys West car park because I hadn't got a clue where to meet you. Because I thought if I go into a cafe, she's probably going to throw 2 knives at me. So I thought, let me keep it safe as much as I can. And I've told her what I'm telling you. I said, I've been to the school. This is the conversation. I've now been told that he's been arrested. But before she came in the car, she was shaking. She was like, lad, God, I got to tell me some bad news. And I said, Mum, just get in the car. Woman to woman, you actually need to have this conversation. And after I told her, she looked shocked and she started to cry. And then she said, she needs to leave my car. And she went back into her car. Now, I must have sat there for about a good 10 minutes and she sat in her car and I didn't move. She didn't move. And I thought, no, I need to go because I need to tell my girls he's been arrested. So I went back to temporary accommodation. Now, when I called my mum about half an hour later and I said, Mum, did you get home safely? she was talking to me like I was a stranger. I can't talk to you right now. I'm at your brother's house. And I had to get a taxi to pick me up. And she sounded so frosty. I thought, okay, you're not handling this news very well, and I don't feel supported. In between the Tuesday and the Saturday, I'd actually gone to my godmother and told my godmother what's going on, and my godmother was shocked as well. And it was almost like, my godmother's an elderly woman, so how does an elderly woman digest this information? Because I'm not taking it on very well.
Yeah.
Now, that was the first week. As weeks have gone by, I've noticed a lot of my mum's family, there's no communication. The regulars that would call me and check for me and say, oh, we got to do a Saturday, we're going to meet up and eat barbecue, or we're just going to meet. No one's calling me. No one's texting me. I'm thinking, it's getting a bit intense. And I'm telling my partner, like, no one's chatting to me. No, not one person has called my daughter to say, you guys all right? We've heard what's going on. I come from a big Family. In Northampton, I've got like 100 cousins, no lie. You know what I mean? My dad came from a family of 8, and every family member had 8. And when you start adding up cousins, you start seeing the bloodlines kind of large. And I was like, not one person has come to me at all, apart from one of my cousins who is a social worker. But I feel so she only came to fast. She only really came to see, you know what I mean? What's your story? And then she can go run back and tell my sister, because she wants to know her story as well, to see who's chatting what. But I was like, you know what? I'm just talking my truth. I'm telling you exactly how my life has been from the day that I've been told from the teachers. So as time's gone on, we've moved back into the family home. The house has been renovated. And I realised when we moved back, I was like, the house feels cold. But I'm also angry because I've been told, as time has gone on, we've had social workers have said they've come to see us to see, like, are my children safe being with me, including my son? Me and my partner have a son together.
Yeah.
They did an assessment and they were like, do you know what? You're fine. Your children can stay with you. I was like, of course they can stay with me, because I'm not the one endangering them. It's this young man that has done what he's done. Those couple of days, it's really strange because the last text that I had from my sister, so I got told on the Tuesday. My partner and I went back to school on the Wednesday to be told the police have to be informed. And on the Thursday, my sister texted me and said, whenever she's going through stuff, she always goes to our dad's graveside. She goes, sis, if you're feeling really down, go to dad's graveside. That's my last text that I got from my sister. And I was like, how ironic. I've just been told that her son's raped my children and she's texting me that. But she obviously didn't know the details. She hasn't been told. And I was informed not to tell my family anything until he's been arrested. So in their eyes, they just think Marsha's going through something, but they don't know really what it is. They then knew on Saturday when he got arrested, like, rah.
So did they arrest him at his home?
He was arrested down in London at the time.
Okay. And how old was he at the time?
This was 3 years ago. He'd have been 20. So he got arrested. And then since then, there was no communication. Like, I was in quite a lot of group chats on WhatsApp. Me and my sister and a few other people. I just started removing myself. I was like, do you know what? She got blocked.
Yeah.
She got blocked. Think some of my family already blocked me before I even got a chance to block them. So I was like, it's okay, I'll just remove your number out of my phone. It's not a problem. But then obviously, as time's gone on, it was just like, I've had to keep a normality with my children, taking them to school and to college, but I'm angry.
Yeah.
And as a mum, I'm like, kind of feel whatless that I didn't pick up these signs. And as time's gone on in the years now, I think people that are good to me right now say, just don't beat yourself up. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. If you're looking for salt in a kitchen, that's what you're looking for. If I say to you, Kanisha, go and look for salt, yeah? You're going to look for salt. You're not looking for the pepper sauce.
Yeah.
You're not looking for the oxtail in the freezer. You're looking for the salt. So I've been hard on myself. I'm like, how come I didn't pick up these signs? Because there's been times where one of my twins was so angry. I even said to my mum, why is she so angry? I took her to the doctors, I took her to the doctors. The doctor said, I'll give her evening primrose oil because that can help. Maybe it's making her cycles are making her aggressive. I'm going, no, it's not. It can't be your cycles are making you act like you're going to kill someone. And she even had counselling in the school and outside the school, but she's not shared these things, so they can't tell me. Because if she had told the teachers what she was going through, they would have had to have told us. They would have had to come to us and said, actually, we've had to go against, confidentiality because this has happened. So the girls didn't share it and I wasn't informed. I've had to do a lot of personal development and mind work to get over this. I've had to reignite my faith, because I started to think, how comes we've been given this burden? How comes we've been given it this? Why did he do this? Then I started to think, has he been raped or molested by my sister's boyfriends that were coming in and out of jail? Because my sister liked to love bad man who was always in jail. So I was thinking, you don't just get up and start doing these things to your cousins.
Yeah.
Then I got really angry with myself. My partner does know, he's aware. A female cousin who's like 3 years older than me used to force me to do stuff when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And every time my mum and dad would go out on a Saturday night, would have to go to my auntie's house. And I kept saying to my auntie, I don't want to stay in the room with her. She's weird. Like, she makes me do weird stuff. And my auntie would say, no, man, you just imagining things. So throughout the night, when she's ready to do her stupidness, I say I'm going to the toilet. And I go to the toilet and I go for a quick pee, and then I think, you know what, I'm going to sit on the top of the stairs. And to this day, I remember the hard, corrugated, cold carpet. My auntie didn't have a lot of money. And I remember the carpet being so thin. It's almost like I was sitting on the wood.
Mm-hmm.
That's my reminder of me sitting on that stairs. And I remember dropping asleep on the stairs. And then auntie saying, go on back to bed. I said, no, I'd rather sleep on the stairs, you know. And to the point where I was seen as, oh, Marsha's too stush. She thinks she's too nice. She can't sleep in the bed. Because my mum and dad's house was quite nice, to be honest. You know what I mean? I was like, I love my home comforts. So they thought I was the red skin girl that thought she was too nice. And I said, no. And I really wanted to call my cousin out. But at the time, she was running away a lot. And I kept thinking, why is she always running away? My auntie did have lodgers, and I didn't know what was going on with the lodgers.
Mm-hmm.
But that's no excuse. I should have opened my mouth and spoke.
Yeah.
It's taken for my children to be abused for me to actually speak and say, you know what? My children might not want to speak the sordid details of what they've gone through. It's my duty now to unzip. I've titled what I'm doing now Unzipping the Silence, because I'm a fashion designer. So unzipping is the part of the fashion side of me.
Mm-hmm.
But the silence, I'm not going to be silent anymore, Kanisha. Like, I have to speak up and tell people. Since my children have come out and said they've gone through their experiences, I said to them, you know, we're gonna go all the way. The police have come to us quite a few times, questioned them. We've had support workers coming and asking how we're doing on a regular basis for the 3.5 years. Well, I say 2.5 years up until the first court date.
Yeah.
Was
the first court date, was he there as well?
The first court date was last year.
Oh, okay.
However, it got adjourned because what happened was, so the younger 3 girls, because they were underage, they were able to be videoed.
Okay.
They didn't have to go into court. So they had, originally they were interviewed the second week after we were told from the school. They were interviewed in a safe place. So those records were kept because obviously the police wanted to hear what had happened. And then 2 years later, when we got the court date, then the girls were recorded again to make sure everyone, what they're saying is matching up, and that was fine.
Mm-hmm.
But with my eldest, because she's over the age now, like she's classed as an adult, she had to go to court. So I was assisting her, brought her up to Northampton Crown Court. As she's re-watching her first original video back from 2021, she's had a flashback. So she told her barrister, I've just had another memory. And the barrister said to the judge, okay, the eldest has had something else has come to her forefront mind. So the judge said, we've got to adjourn this. We've got to get a new video. So she's been re-recorded with the new information. And because of that, the court case got adjourned. Now, I thought they're going to adjourn it for a few days. They adjourned it for a whole year. So the court case was adjourned for another year, which brought us to April 28th of this year. And in this whole time, I've done my best to reach out to my mum. I've messaged her. We've gone to a house on a Christmas, not Christmas Day, because she would have been with the other family members. So my mum did her best to balance herself between the other children that I'm not talking to and myself and my children. There was always an elephant in the room. She never addressed the situation. I was never able to say, you know, Rayshon's done X, Y, and Z to the girls, right? Could never say that. Mum would talk about what's on TV. She'd talk about everything else but that. And I started to feel like we're not dealing with this properly. Then I started to reflect and think, how does my mum feel? Because she's got her 2 daughters and her grandchildren. How would I actually balance myself? I did my best to understand where she's coming from. I still don't understand my mother to this day. So we've had the court case. My daughter went in. It was supposed to be on the Monday 28th, but they said court started late. So she's not going to be needed till the Tuesday. So we had to stay an extra day in Northampton. On the Tuesday, I asked one of my close friends to come down from Manchester because I can't go in the courtroom because I'm also going to give account, or they're going to question me in the courtroom. So my friend went in to support my daughter. My friend has come out and she just said to me, she couldn't tell me what was said in the courtroom for confidentiality, but she came out and said, when you go in there tomorrow, you're going to be cussing. I can say what I said in there. So I went in on the Wednesday, and the questions that came to me was, is it right to say my sister was earning more money than me in between, exactly how you're looking, in between 2011 to when I met my partner in 2017. So for 6 years, my sister's earning more money than me. I was like, that's a lie. Because when my husband died in 2014, I was freelancing in London and earning a very good salary, right? Is it right to say my children would make comments about his hair, Rayshon's hair? I was like, sorry? Rayshon's mixed race. His dad's mixed and my sister's black. His granddad is black and his grandma's white. So his hair texture was kind of, it wasn't true mix. It was just a bit of a blend, yeah? So my feedback to the barrister, the defense barrister, was, he's mixed. His hair's going to be different. My children never made a comment about his hair. I've always told my daughters to love their blackness. And please, and I told the jury, for the sake of the record, don't let the blonde wig fool you, because I had a platinum blonde wig on. And I thought, I know these people are making their notes. And if I love my blackness, why am I wearing a blonde wig for? I work in fashion.
Yeah.
I'm entitled to look how I want. But my partner will tell you, I'm British born, but you would think I'm a Jamaican through and through. The way I talk, the way I cook, the way I show my children roots and culture. So the questions that started to come out in this courtroom were not aligning with the reason why I was there as a mum. I was like, this is bullshit. Sorry, let me just keep it real. This is bullshit. And even when the defense lawyer was asking me questions, I had to come back and say, are you asking me or telling me? She said, my mum had house rules in the house. I was like, you're asking me or telling me that there's house rules? I said, I was born and bred in this house. We never had printed rules, thou shalt not do X, Y, and Z. We just had common sense. You come in the house, you take off your shoes. That's standard
So
stuff.
were they like trying to insinuate it was like very strict, like culty kind of thing? Is
Yeah,
that what
and
they
they
were
were
trying to get
also
at?
doing their best to discredit me as a mum and make it out like I was the broke one when my sister was always borrowing money from me. My brother was borrowing money from me. Imagine I've got 4 children at this time, and I've got my siblings asking on the 3rd week of every month, oh, Marsh, send me £50 my account, please, I've got no money till payday. Hold on, am I supposed to be giving you money when I've got my 4 children and I'm the one busting my ass after my husband's died, traveling and commuting, and just to make sure I can cover my bills, buy my car, all that? I was like, how can these people come and discredit me? We're not actually dealing with the fact that this punk has actually done what he's done. So when I came out the courtroom, because the questions that came out, even the judge looked at me like to say, oh, I don't know where they're going with these
So
questions.
that was his defense. His defense team was saying that,
When my lawyer asked me questions now, it was literally just to paint the picture of, because my angle that I came with, I actually thought I came from a loving family. I thought my mum loved me. I know my dad loved me before he died. You know what I mean? Rest in peace, Dad. And I thought my siblings respected me. I realised when this all came out, they hated me with a passion because Marsha's the one that always talks the truth. There's been other things that have happened where, unfortunately, one of my cousins has taken someone's life, and my sister would harbour this murderer in her yard. This is the family that I've come from that I thought was nice, loving. We come together. I don't care how I'm seen on this camera now. I'm painting the picture of the real. These family members have basically, they don't like the fact that my children are speaking the truth. So they think that if they turn their backs on us and ostracize us, that we're going to go away. Well, I'm not going away. And I'm now in a position where I've told my children, I'm going to be interviewed and I'm going to talk about this. I won't talk about what you've gone through, but from the mum side, from the mother angle, since I've moved to London, I've found a community of women that actually can empower me. My partner prays all the time, is an upstanding Christian man. I shouldn't say Christian, is a believer, because I don't like the word Christian, is a believer, and he follows, the Lord's ways. And without him encouraging me and praying and helping me, I probably would be dead, Kanisha, because there's many times I've actually wanted to commit suicide. A coward's way out of having to deal with this.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. I want my mum to help me. I'm doing my best not to cry, because it really hurts me that my mum has not been there. But then I think, how can she be there for me? What can she say? What made it worse was my mum took the stand in defense of Rayshon. So not only has the court case finished now, it was a 2-week course, 2-week trial, yeah? my eldest went on the Tuesday. I went on the Wednesday. I was told then my mum took the stand on the Thursday. A question that came to me from the defence barrister was, "Is it right to say my mum is disappointed in me?" And I said, "Which part is she disappointed?" Because we've had so many arguments over the years. I was like, is she disappointed in me that I asked her a few questions about who she dated before my dad? Because there's been so much animosity. I look like my cousin. My cousin and I, we pass as twins. We've got the same colour eyes, with same brown skin. And a lot of people say we're brothers and sisters. Now, my mum might see us and say, "How's she touching my business?" We all know the story. My mum dated my uncle before she met my dad. So she dated two brothers, not simultaneously, but she dated my uncle first. And then a few years later, she dated my dad and then they got married. But there's always this talk in my hometown that I am my uncle's child.
Yeah.
Now, as a big woman now, if you questioned your mum, like, "Mum, is that my dad?" Your mum should just say, "Oh, can you swear that? Well, of course that's your dad," and be cool with it. My mum's reaction was completely off the Richter scale, to the point where she's cussing me, saying, "Go get your effing DNA test." So there's been so much stress and strain in the relationship. But when this woman's saying to me, "My mum's disappointed in me," I was like, "Disappointed in which part?" Is it the question about me asking, "Is my dad my dad?" Is that what she's disappointed in? Is she disappointed that I've opened my mouth on behalf of my children to say we are standing up for this nastiness? Since my children have come out, Kanisha, my elder cousins who were born in the same town left Northampton and moved to America for the same thing. My cousins were abused. So I had two sisters. They shared a double bed together. The stepfather would rape one and not the other. The other sister would be in the bed, quiet, not doing anything. That cousin that got raped, she's reached out to me every single month since this has come out. "Are you okay? How are the girls?" You see the other cousin? Nothing. Can't say nothing to me. And I look and think, why is this family covering up this stuff? When we went to court the first time last year, we were quite surprised that the young man, Rayshon, turned up on his own. No family members. I was expecting to be approached or see the full crew, mum and dad, uncles and aunties, backing him up. No one. He was on his own, just with him as barrister. So obviously then this year now, me and my daughter were like, right, we're mentally and physically, not saying we're going to fight anyone, but we were like, we're mentally prepared to see people. Monday, obviously we didn't get there. We got told not to come until Tuesday. Tuesday, I messaged my friend who was obviously in court for my eldest. And she's like, "No one's here." I was like, "Don't lie." She said, "No one's here." I said, "Okay." So I thought, they're not going to intimidate my eldest. They're going to come and intimidate me when I go in the courtroom. When I went in the courtroom, there was just two students in the gallery. So I was like, something's not right here. This is really. And then I thought, are they thinking that this is a joke? Like this is some joke thing. It's just going to get thrown out of the courtroom. When I was standing in, taking stand, the amount of times I did my best to look at him, it was like someone had given him instructions just to look at the fly on the wall and do not move your head, because I was looking at him. Because I thought, if he glimpses my eyes, he has to talk the truth.
Yeah.
And not once he could look at me. And I found it really weird. Even when I came out of the courtroom and I came down and I stood and looked at him for a good 20 seconds, he was just focused on past the judge. I don't know what was behind the judge, but he just looked through the judge. And I was like, you know what? I keep replaying back. I thought, oh, you should have gone in there and shouted at him. And I thought, no, I'm being watched. The jury want to see how do I conduct myself. And I'm all with integrity. So I'm like, do you know what? I'm just going to do what I need to do. I'm going to speak my truth, be who I am. I don't need to pretend that I'm a mad black woman and I want to mash up the place. I want to fling off my wig and fling something at him. I said, no, just go in there and just answer the questions as best as you can and come out. I was informed my mum went in there, and when we got the verdicts the following week, I got the phone call from the police on the Friday. My daughters have been informed before me. I was told by the police because my daughter at the time hadn't turned 16 yet. So I had to be told on her behalf. And they said, he's been found guilty. I cried, I sobbed. I was like, I could hear the police saying, "You okay? You okay?" I said, "Can I call you back?" Because I cried with relief. I'm like, 12 people in a jury also believe me and my daughters. They believe, because I believed them from the beginning.
Mhm.
I had a gut feeling. I was like, damn, if I knew my children were lying, I'd have been like, boy, I'm not sure how to take this one, because I don't feel like you guys are telling the truth. But I knew deep down when I asked them the question when we was in temp accommodation,
Mhm.
I asked them once, I was like, look me in my eyes, are you telling the truth? And they said, Mummy, we're telling you the truth. And I remember saying to them, do you know what? I will lose the whole world to stand by you and support you to get this all the way to the end of court. And they said, thanks, Mum. And my partner also said, he has to hold us up.
Mhm.
Because if I'm holding up my babies, who's going to hold me? So he held me and God held him. And then we had few people around us. So that was the Friday when the police told me. Then I obviously spoke to my daughter because they were out and about. And then we got back in the house and I was like, okay, he's been found guilty. We've been given the sentencing date, which was the following month. And I
Mhm.
did ask the police, is this going to be put in the paper now? And I said, no, wait to sentencing. And then they'll just do a whole one article to say he's gone to court in April for 2-week trial and has now been found guilty. My question to the police was, okay, so now he's been found guilty and you told me 19 charges. Even that didn't comprehend.
What was the charges? Because 19, I
There
think.
was about 13 sexual abuse charges for children under the age of 13.
Mhm.
And then it said rape for the other 6.
Mhm.
And I read that and just thought, I can't read no more. I don't
Mhm.
want to see the rest because
Yeah.
just when you see it in black and white, it then verifies my children's behavior,
Yeah.
especially twin number 2. Because there's been times where, and even when I look back now, I remember strongly me and my sister taking the children and my mum to Southend-on-Sea to celebrate what would have been her 35th wedding anniversary. Obviously, my dad's died. So we said, Mum, let's still celebrate you and Dad and
Mhm.
have a good time. Now, I remember being near the pier and my sister, Rayshon's mum, and twin 2, who's very angry, they were having a bit of an argument. And my sister was like, I'm going to throw you over the fucking pier. And I was like, easy, what's going on here? You don't need to throw her over the pier. Not realising that twin had told my sister, Rachel's been touching me up. And
Mhm.
my sister's response was, shut the fuck up, you're lying. Now, for me, I'm thinking, if her daughter said to me, Auntie, someone's done this to me, why am I going to tell her to shut the F up?
Mhm.
I'm going to go, all right, let me talk to your mum. And let me go pull up the boy's mother and father and say, voila, I'm going to talk and sort this out. I'm not going to tell around to my niece and say, shut the F up.
Yeah.
So my sister already knew he was doing stuff, but it's almost like she was in denial.
Mhm.
He also so Rachel lived with his mum up to a certain point. And then randomly, I remember having a conversation with my mum and mum said, oh, Rachel's moving in with me. I said, what's he moving in with you for? Really and truthfully, a grandmother wouldn't want, some grandmothers have their grandsons, but in my brain, I was thinking, but you've got my 4 daughters here and we live closer to you. He lives on the other side of town. Would it not be better to have my eldest come move in with you if you want company because dad's
Mhm.
not there, or you want little help with washing up and tidying up? And even when he moved in with her, every minute she's on the phone to me, lad, in my smoke and oh, stinker, this and that, yeah, and she's complaining. So
Mhm.
I'm thinking, things are not adding up. Why? And I said to my sister, why did Rachel move out? Oh, he's not washing up, he's not cleaning up. Nah, sis, you don't kick out your son because he's not washing up.
Mhm.
But now when I start to, because since the court case is finished, I'm noticing I have not been a pushy mum. I'm like, it's evident my children have gone through abuse. Let me give them some space because eventually they're going to come to me and actually sit down and reason with me. And I've noticed since this court case has concluded, a lot of the times, 3 out of my 4 daughters will come in my bedroom. They come on the end of my bed and we'll laugh and we'll chat. And then they just casually start saying, oh, mum, yeah, that happened, And I go, wow.
So they're still saying
They're
more
starting to
stuff.
talk about what's happening. So when
Mhm.
they start talking to me, I can't be judgmental and I do my best not to show it on my face because I'm quite an, you can read me on my face and I do my best. When you said to me, oh, this person died, I'm thinking, oh God, I haven't got a poker face. I can't hide, Kanisha. So when they talk to me now, I'm sitting there going, right, okay. I have to digest it. And I say, girls, give me some, let me go get little wine, little red wine because My heart can't manage it. You know what I mean? I said, it's hard. It's so hard to take it all in. You hear it on the news, Kanisha. You don't want it to happen to your own children.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You hear someone get stabbed and you think, oh, I feel really sorry for them. Until your own child gets stabbed, you're thinking, then you know what the person's gone through and then you understand the person's pain. And now I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I've been stabbed in my heart and my stomach multiple times because they've gone through the abuse. But I think it's even worse knowing that the family that you've been around and you supported, they're not there.
Mm.
So what I've explained to my children is, you still have siblings. My children still have each other. But as a mum, as a daughter, as a sister, I've lost out
Yeah.
because I've had to step away from my elder brother. Is a joke. When this all came out, the week later, he said to me, "Oh, I think something's happened to the girls, but say it's pastor. Say it's the pastor that goes to church." I said, "So you want me to cause? You want me to do perjury? You now want me to go to jail and lie on my pastor so that Rachel gets away with it?"
Mm.
I was like, if this was a total stranger, I wouldn't be even sitting here being interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
This would be a total different thing. No one would, if this was a stranger, my friend would have said, "Done him!
Yeah.
Make him go jail, castrate him, jungle justice, take him to Jamaica and kill him." Oh, but now because it's Rayshon and he's the golden child, he was the first grandson. And that comment came up in the court. Marsha, is it right to say you called him the golden child? Yes, I did say he's the golden child because this red skin, and I'm not saying colorism because I'm red skin myself, but this red skin grandson who was spoiled rotten has literally mashed up my dad's lineage. Mashed up the lineage to the point where I don't know, is there reconciliation? How do we come back from this?
Mm.
You know what I mean? I've got a lot of family on my dad's side. Bless my dad's side of the family. And they're probably out of both sides. I was close with my mum's side of the family, but I've now realised my dad's side is the righteous side. And let me just put it out there. The mum's side, they're the living demons. And I have to pray for them. And I want them to hear that. So the sentencing date was the 19th of June. 13th of June, we got a phone call that he's left the country. I thought it was a joke. I actually thought when the PC called me, I said, come again.
Mm.
I questioned them when he was found guilty. I said, has he been remanded in custody? No, the judge put him on bail. Bail is going to make him fled the country. I actually said it. It's almost like I just manifested it before it even happened. And the lady said, the PC said, "Oh no, it's strict instructions. He has to turn up on bail every other day." I said, that don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing.
So he wasn't on tag bail either?
No. So on the 13th of June now, the PC called me and she said, "I'm giving you the worst news that you want to hear." I said, "He's fled the country, isn't he?" And she went, "How did you know?" I said, "I know you're going to tell me that because we've got sentencing coming up next week. There's no way on earth a 23-year-old man with 19 convictions is going to feel comfortable going to jail."
Mm.
Because when you're going to jail, they're going to ask you what you're in here for.
Mm.
"Yeah, I've raped my 4 cousins." Really? They're going to bust your ass in there.
Mm.
Is that to leave the country? And what makes it worse, the questions that come to me now is, "Oh, can you get to Jamaica from South America?" I said, don't ask me questions on how to get from one place to the next. That's not my duty. I'm the mother of survivors.
Sorry, they're asking you that.
Don't ask me, can you get from South America to Jamaica? Go do your work, innit? Because we shouldn't be at this stage where you're asking me that. It should be, he's in jail. He's in jail and my children have, the chapter's closed. Now, I feel like my children they're doing their best to hold it down, but I feel angry. I feel angry that my mum's obviously had a conversation with one of my daughters because one of my twins is quite close to her, even with this court case. I said, my daughter ain't got no sense. I love her, but I'm like, you shouldn't be so close to your nan because your nan's dangerous because what she's doing is she's building a relationship with you to find out what's mum saying, what's happening, what's going on. She don't really care. She's showing that now because she's taken a stand for him because she thought she could lie and they could beat the system. The system's already seen what this man's about.
So when he left, did they tell you, did he leave on his passport?
Yes, Kanisha. He left on his passport.
Like his own passport?
There's a loophole in the system. When he didn't turn up for bail, it's almost like the police system doesn't flag it up straight away. It's like they're pushing paper. You have to be told, and then you need to go and tell your colleague. Then he needs to press a button and do 2 emails and send it to someone else and then inform the airports and the seaports that this person is wanted. So he's had 24 hours to get out of the country and then it's flagged up, "Oh, we have to turn up for bail. Oh, we've just seen he's just turned up in South America." Really? And the extradition proceedings out there, it's harder to get him back. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. So I want to say they, family, the people them that I was brought up in, they're the ones that know what they're doing.
So you think that they helped him
Of course. But the thing for them is they don't even realise they're going to be monitored like a hawk now. And who wants to live in fear, watching your shoulders every minute to see if you're going to get picked up by the police?
Because he will be back at some point. He's
Do you
gonna
know what?
come
I'm
back.
just like, I told my girls, he's been found guilty. I've got the letter written, typed up, posted to me, confirmation that he's been found guilty. No one can't chat to me in my family. No one can come and say to me, oh, and you're wicked. Well, I'm wicked for standing up for my own flesh and blood. If their dad was alive, I probably would get cussed for this all happening anyway. But I know the dad would do things in a different way because he was a hothead. Out of me and him, he was the hotter-headed person more than me. He probably would have taken things into his own hands. I'm a person that would say, do you know what? As much as I would want to do things the wrong way, it's not the right way. And I've told my children, God is our vindicator. When people do wrong to innocent children, they're going to get caught. So now I have to understand and tell my children, we need to have patience. We need to say, you know what? Let's just move on with our lives as best as we can. Because one day we're going to get the phone call. He's been found. He's been arrested. He's back in the country. He's been sentenced and this is his jail time. I know it sounds strange. I still pray for him. Because deep down, and the matter of the truth is, I saw him come into the world as my first nephew. Like, he is still my flesh and blood. But when he does wrong, or when anyone does wrong, like I had to do my 8 hours in jail for spitting on my mum's neighbour. Like people say, what's that saying? When you do the crime, you do the time. And it's as simple as that. I'm not ashamed to stand up as Marsha B, who supported her 4 daughters. If anyone said, would you do it again? Of course I would. Because the truth has to be heard. It has to be shared. And I'm breaking a cycle. Like my children have literally said, Mum, do you realise we have broken a chain here? My partner tells me all the time, no one could ever come back and abuse my children ever again. My bloodline now, if I ever become a grandparent, my children's children will know Marsha as the woman who stood for her children and said wrong is wrong and correct people. If I see any, even now with my 6-year-old son, maybe I didn't speak up enough with my daughters because I experienced it. I felt like it wasn't good to tell my children and pester them and say, no, let people touch you. And I just felt like if I didn't talk about it too much, they're not going to have it on their mind to think about it. But now I'm like, you know what? Maybe my parenting skills weren't as great as I thought it was because they experienced stuff that they shouldn't have.
So what are the police doing? So now it's just a waiting game. Did they just say
they've got it's the crime agencies and I believe it's called Interpol. They're organisations that are now literally searching for him.
Wow.
Searching for him. So, I said to them, how can they, that I know my family, how they operate. They're not going to send money through banking system. And I even asked the question to the police, if I really wanted to send you money, I could send you money through a stranger. I could say to a stranger right now, oh, could you do me a favour? Yeah, could you just, not in your bank account, but could you just go to Western Union for me and send some money to my friend Kanisha? Yeah, but don't tell us, I'm going to surprise her, but I don't want to know it's coming from me. You know what I mean? You could find ways on sending money to people.
Yeah.
But the police are very positive in the sense that they can find out how he's going to get money. And I'm like, okay, how long can you last? You know what I mean? That means my sister and her dad, his dad, are going to have to be working very hard to upkeep him unless he already had a bag of money through Bitcoin. Because I even joked about Bitcoin, I said, how do you know he's not got money in cryptocurrency? Because you can't really trace crypto, but there's means and ways.
What country did he go to? What South American country?
We don't know. I was just told South America. I feel like the police are holding back information because they might think, oh, Marsha's going to get on the plane
that's true.
and go and deal with him. I said, who's got time? Who's got time to be doing? Listen, I'm not going on the plane for him. I'm not wasting my good earned money to go on a plane to go look for him. But I was like, do you know what? God is my eyes and ears. God knows where he is. So I'm just like, you know what, Lord? You know why this is all happening in this manner. just do your thing, innit?
Did they let you know, like, I know obviously you didn't get sentenced, but did they tell you, like, what kind of time scale they're
I've been
looking at?
advised by the barrister, the nature of this and the amount of convictions, minimum 14 years.
Mm,
It's hard, isn't it? When you hear that as a 23-year-old, do you really want to go in jail for 14 years and
mm,
come out almost 40? Like,
mhm,
I wouldn't. But do you really want to be on the run for that amount of time? Because the more time you do out there on the run, you're going to have that added onto
yeah,
your sentencing. So you're kind of stupid. Sorry to say that. Like, you've just made it worse. You want to, because I got told by the police when they told me he'd run off,
mm,
oh, he wanted to appeal the verdict. How are you going to appeal the verdict now that you've done a run off?
mm,
I've checked out all the information online as well. I've had my information advice from the solicitor. You know what I mean? Like, you're just digging your grave. Your grave's got bigger.
yeah,
Really and truthfully, it's sad because this is actually family. You know what I mean? I'm not saying this with joy. I'm actually like pained. But firstly, you did wrong. I do feel in that lockdown when I was doing his hair, he knew his conscience was pricking him. But how could you turn around and tell your auntie, I've raped your daughters? You can't.
mm.
You couldn't actually reach out to any family member when we come from a big family. You couldn't reach out to no one and say, I've done wrong. Can you help me?
In the court, I know do you know what he said in court to defend
No,
himself? Did he
the
not
only
tell you?
way in Crown Court, there's a transcript. That's the only way I could find out what's been said. And that was a comment that came from my mum. My mum had a conversation with my daughter, twin two, and my daughter said to her, I've heard that you've taken the stand, Nanny. What did you say? And my mum turned around and said, if you want to know what I said, go and buy the transcript, which is quite expensive. What kind of woman does that? And
Mm,
from that comment, I said, you know what, girls, stay away from your nanny because your nan's dangerous. My mother, my actual biological mother, bless her heart, she's dangerous to say that. So I said to the girls, at some point, when we get to this, because now we've got a new sentencing date
mm,
on the 28th of August, that has to happen. So, because obviously he's done a runner in August, they'll do their formalities in court and they'll say, you know, the offender's not actually present, he's still on the run. They'll then probably say his sentencing will be X amount of years. However, it's going to have to be adjourned until we actually arrest him. When that's concluded, then I'm going to say to my girls, okay, we might need to get this transcript.
mm.
As much as it might be expensive, I don't know if it's going to be £1,000 or
Is
whatever.
it to find out what he said in his
Yeah, because I think it will
defense?
help. Not, I don't think it'll help the girls, but I think it'll make me understand like what is really because like, right now the jigsaw puzzle's still missing
Mm,
a bag of pieces. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I've been told my daughters have been raped. He's now told the police he's not guilty. Family members for him didn't turn up twice. That's a form of guilt.
mm,
I've been told by the police when the um, offender has no family members in court, that's already a sign of guilt.
mm,
They don't want people to hear all the details of what he's done.
yeah,
My friend has given me an insight, not told me word for word, but she's like, your girls have gone through a lot of shit. So kind of ease up on them now because they've gone through, you can understand why they've behaved the way they have. I thought it was grief originally.
mhm,
And it was a combination, not just grief, but also the fact that they're being abused. Like when I talk to my youngest now, who's now 16, she said, you know, mum, it was horrible, but it's a distant memory. She doesn't want to think about it anymore. She just wants to live. You know, she's 16, she's going to college soon. And the fact that my girls are actually shining and winning, which is why I keep saying my daughters tell me all the time, "Mummy, you're a real strong woman," and I'm like, I don't feel strong.
yeah,
But when I see how they're doing, I think, well, I must be doing something right now because you know I've got two girls going. The twins are going university this year. My youngest is going college. My eldest is working and doing coding. Like she's really pushing herself. And I just said, all I want to do is just give them a really nice holiday at some point and say, girls, you lot need to just rest your brain and forget about this whole. I know you can't really forget about it, but just say start a new chapter. Um, yeah.
yeah. I do
So
agree. I think they're very brave for going up and taking a stand because I know a lot of girls, especially women, they don't really they don't take it any further for
yeah,
fear of nothing being done. And I think even them being so young when it happens, because most people just say, "Oh, just it's too late now,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
forget about it." And him even coming out and having 19 convictions as well is quite a good job done by
yeah.
the justice system, because again,
It
that
sometimes doesn't
usually
happen.
does not
We
happen.
we were told 4 in 100 people that are abused get to court.
Hmm.
So that means we beat all the odds because 4 of my girls, because I've got 5 daughters, so 4 of my girls, we actually got the case got to court. CPS from the get go believed everything that was said. They have all the details down to. I just know my children have gone through sexual abuse.
Hmm.
I don't say it in a happy way. I'm like, my partner, my children have seen the tears. I've been broken. Like I might have makeup on and look nice and pretty today, but behind the scenes, like I've gone through so much stress. Um, Mentally, I think it's my faith that's kept me going, to be honest, because I feel like I should be in a madhouse.
Hmm.
In a madhouse, or I should be dead. You know what I mean? But that's not my portion. And I feel like because that's not my portion, it's almost like God saying, well, you're my strong soldier. I've given you this because I need you to actually help get other people out of it.
Mm.
And because of that, I'll mention it here. You don't have to put it on your.
No, it's fine.
I'm doing a fashion show in
Hmm.
September called Unzip the Silence, and I'm raising funds for Rape Crisis UK. um, Showcasing the fact that I'm a designer in West London. I've got a lot of clientele, building it up since we've moved down there, but also to let people know I'm a designer with a difference. Like I literally need to tell people I'm not just going to make you look pretty, Kanisha. I'm not going to just make you your little two-piece and your headband and give you some nice, you know what I mean, a nice look, but I'm also going to sow a seed of faith in you. Anyone who comes to me, I don't share this particular testimony about what me and my daughters have gone through,
Hmm.
but I share something to encourage them to say, do you know what? Sometimes I get my clients and they'll come and say, oh, my bingo wings and I'm really fat. And I say, listen, ain't nothing. Or they complain about their life. I said, you ain't gone through nothing. What you're moaning about, you might be moaning that your partner didn't take the dustbins out yesterday. And I'm like, listen, if I shared my life story with you, you would be sitting here crying and then go, Marsha, how are you still smiling? Now my children understand, even though their childhood was taken away from them by Rayshon,
Hmm.
and it is sad because I had a beautiful childhood. I had a mum and dad that were married for 35 years, and I was spoiled as the firstborn daughter. And I was sent to university. I had everything. You know what I mean? My children were robbed from a lot of things. They were robbed that they didn't have their dad because he died of lung cancer. They were also abused by their cousin. They weren't believed by their auntie. Their grandma didn't believe them. She spoke horrible things about them. You know what I mean? We've had many different altercations, and I just think, but they're still standing. And if you saw photos of my daughters, first of all, people wouldn't believe that they're even my daughters. We look like sisters. My neighbours now go, you sure that's your daughters? I say, yeah. And I think, oh, it's good that I look like a sister, innit? You know what I mean? It kind of bigs me up. But also it shows where you start in life is not where you end in life. And you have the power to change things. So even though my daughters might have started with trauma from many different aspects of their childhood, I know they're destined for greatness because the devil only goes for those that have something gifted within inside of them. And I now realize I have 6 children, all 6 children, including the 4 that have been abused, they are highly gifted and favored. And because of that, I'm like, it's my duty now to not just do my best now to protect them better on their adulthood, but help as many other people, whether it's males or females that have gone through the same thing, and just encourage them, love on them as a designer of a difference, and show them like, you can be the best that you want to be, no matter how many people have hurt you physically and mentally in the past. You know what I mean? And I really would want to say to my cousin, because my cousin, that one that actually abused me when I was younger,
Mm.
I don't know what she went through, but hand on my heart, I do forgive her.
Mm.
Like I actually forgive her for what she did to me. Didn't kill me. It just made me 20 times stronger. And that's what I'm
Thank
going to
you.
say for that. Cray. Oh my God.
Thank you. Thank you for coming down to the stool today and sharing your story. Yeah, I think you're very strong for staying so strong for your daughters as a mom, because I'm a mom as well, and
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do if, touch wood, that,
No,
that happens to
seriously,
someone,
I've had
friend.
some crazy thoughts, Kanisha. I even remember saying to my friend the week I found out, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put a balaclava on and
Mm,
just not tell my partner and just disappear and go and look for the boy. And I thought, nah, because that's not how we don't do things like that.
mm.
We're big people, you know what I mean? I'm nearly 50, so big people don't put on balaclavas. Then I started thinking, pay a man to do. I said, no, Marsha, don't think darkness, because when you follow darkness, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
I have to stay in the light.
Mm,
And that's what I've done as a mum. And you know what I mean? Mother to mother, you just want the best for your children. And I do feel like I failed them, but my daughters tell me all the time, Mum, you didn't fail. It was just hard. It was just hard for them to tell me, because I was so focused on daddy's died and I've got to go and commute and go get the money in for the bills before I met him in 2017. You know what I mean? I was just on, what's that word? Autopilot.
mm.
I was just like, get up, go, you know what I mean? Now I look back, I think, oh my gosh, I wish I did know.
Yeah.
But it all came out in the way it had to. It came out this way for a reason, because I think maybe if I did know, I don't know, would I have done it the way the school did it? Would I have had a family meeting and they probably would have paid me off to keep quiet? Probably. I don't know.
Mm.
Seriously, I don't know. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
It's okay. Thank you for coming to the Stool
Oh
today.
my gosh.
And that's a wrap.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. All
You
good.
okay, babes?